It's day 11 with our starter now, and it's been 24 hours since we fed it. And I'm gonna call that close enough to falling back down to the line. It's obviously not all the way there, but for the purposes of getting going, I'm gonna call that close enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and feed my starter this morning, and we're gonna hopefully be mixing up some bread with it this afternoon. I'm gonna check back in 4 to 6 hours, make sure it's doubling and looking healthy and ready to go. And as long as that's the case, we're gonna go ahead and make bread with it. And I am so excited. Patience is the most important and under talked about skill and ingredient in sourdough, honestly. It's so important to just be patient. Everyone tries to sell getting a starter going faster and whatever. Just take your time. Give it however long it needs to get going. Be strong, because you're gonna end up with better bread that way. If you try to bake with it too soon, you're gonna end up wasting all that flour and all that time because your bread's not gonna turn out. Get your starter going and established, and once that's the case, then you can move on to making delicious, incredible bread. So as always, I'm giving our starter a good mix before I pour any out of the jar. And I'm gonna be feeding 60 grams instead of our 50 that we've been doing, because my recipe calls for 150 grams of starter. So to be able to pull out 150 grams of starter from here once it's peaked and still have a good amount in the jar to keep feeding, we have to feed a little bit more than that 50-50-50, because 50-50-50 gives us exactly 150. This discard here is at a point where it's healthy enough. I'm gonna save it. So I'm just putting it into my giant discard jar that lives in my fridge, and I just pile it all up in here until I'm ready to bake with it and I wanna use it for some discard recipes. And then I pull it out and use it. Keeping discard in the fridge is also a great way for if your starter dies, you can revive discard and bring it back to life with a couple of feedings. So keeping even just a small amount in the fridge is always a good idea in my opinion. Now adding 60 grams of water. And I'm gonna keep doing that 50-50 blend of all-purpose and whole wheat flour, so 30 grams of each this time. Now it's time to mark it and leave it, and hopefully in 4 to 6 hours, we will be making bread with the starter.